I have two almost identical quads in front of me, but the eagle-eyed person out there, or the person that at least read the video title, will know that there's something different between these two quads. And that is this one on the, well, this side, because I don't know which way around the camera is. The props are the correct way around, in that they spin this way. And this one, the props are on backwards, so that they would need to spin that way. Now I realise that that means they're actually both the same way, but trust me, these ones are backwards, they would spin that way. And this video I'm going to go through how to set that up on the new Betaflight 3.2, because it's surprisingly easy. I'll quickly go through the reason why I chose to do this. Mainly it was so that in a crash the props are spinning that way, away from the camera, or in the same direction as the camera. So if it hits anything, it kicks it forward. So say I hit the ground with this quad, you hit the ground, it chunks up the dirt and it fires it straight into the camera. So I noticed this mainly when I went flying down the beach. It was kicking up sand into the lens, and I ended up having to replace the lens. That's why we got a lens replacement video a while back. And with this quad, it doesn't do that. It blows the sand that way, so the quad is staying above it. And yeah, that was basically my reasoning for doing that. Since doing it though, I've noticed this quad just flies better. It seems to get a lot less of its own prop wash, which is great. I mean, you really have to try to get it to bounce around in its own prop wash, and generally it just seems a little bit more responsive than it was the other way around, just from changing the prop direction. So I'm going to get rid of that one because that one's already done. And with this one, I am going to start the way you always start when you're playing around with your quad. Take the props off. Okay, so I've taken the props off, and I've replaced them with these little bits of paper. Hopefully that means when they spin, the camera will actually pick up the direction that they're spinning in. Otherwise it's really difficult to demonstrate what you're doing. So yeah, so the two steps we need to do is we need to reverse the motors. So the actual direction of the motor needs to be changed. And then the second step is we need to tell the flight controller that we've reversed the motors. Otherwise the flight controller, it'll lift off, and that's about it. As soon as it tries to yaw or correct, it'll speed up or slow down the wrong motor, and then it will just fall out the sky and skip upside down and do all sorts of weird things. So there's two ways to reverse the direction of the motors. The way we're going to do it is to reprogram the speed controllers, which are under here on the arms. That's not always possible, and some people don't like doing that, so I'm going to also demonstrate the other way of doing it. But that's pretty much impossible on this quad because of how short these cables are and where the speed controllers are. So I'm going to use a demo motor. So let's pretend this is your motor on your arm, and your speed controller sits here, and it's huge, and that's one terminal, that's the second terminal, and that's your third terminal, and this is how it's cabled up. So what you would have to do to change the direction of that motor, or what you can do, is you can desolder any two of these. It doesn't matter which two, let's just say these two. So you take, desolder that middle one, desolder the end one, and then you would cross them over like that and solder them back on. So now the cable coming out the side here would come round into the centre one would come round into the side one, and this one would stay where it was. And what that'll do is basically that reverses how the windings work inside the motor, and now the motor will spin in the opposite direction. So you would have to do that to all four of your motors if you didn't want to reprogram the speed controllers. Reprogramming the speed controllers is a bit easier than that because it means you don't need to get your soldering iron out. Also, I wouldn't be able to do that on these motors because although you can't see it, the cables are tiny. They're only that long, and then the speed controller starts there. So I actually don't have enough spare cable to do that, but that's okay because I programmed the directions in these in BLHeli to start with. So yeah, now I'll go get the laptop, we'll connect it up, and I'll show you how to do that. Alright, Okay, because we're messing around with the speed controllers, you need to supply power to them, and the way to do that is to connect a battery. So I've just got a 3-cell battery sitting here. It doesn't matter what battery you get. This is the main reason you definitely need to disconnect the props for this, because you are putting battery power into these. Okay, so this is the Betaflight suite, and what we're going to do is we're going to use this to connect to the ESCs through the flight controller. So to do that, if you've never opened this before, all you need to go is up here where it says select AppML or SI Labs interface. Go down here, pick the SI Labs BLHeli bootloader clean flight in brackets. If you have an AppML chip, which you probably don't, you would select this one. Go down here, pick your COM port, which is COM3, hit connect, then hit check. When you hit check, it picks that I've got 4 speed controllers connected in and gives me the configuration, and then it changes it to the BLHeli S interface, because these will be BLHeli S speed controllers. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go into the motors tab, and I'm going to show you the direction that they're currently turning in. So tick that box because I'm taking my props off, and if I remember rightly, I need to put this to about. So hopefully you can see on the camera which way they're turning, and you can see that this is the normal direction that the props turn in. So what we'll do is we'll stop that and we'll go back into here. So now I need to reconnect, check again, and it shows me the 4 down here. So what I want to do is I just want to select the first one to start with. I can actually select the first and the 4th because they turn the same way. And I want to go into here where it says motor direction. Now these are set to normal, so I want to change them to reverse, and then I want to hit right setup. And that selected motors 1 and 4. They both write the same. I'm going to go, and actually I think I need to do these one at a time. So motor 2 is reversed, I'm going to set that to normal, and then I want to write that setup. Do motor 3, read setup just to make sure. So 3 is reversed, you want to set that to normal as well, right setup. Go into motor 4. Yeah, motor 4 is, I hit read, already normal, I want to set that one to reverse. Hit right setup. So now what I can do is load them all again, hit check, and it will actually tell me in here the motor direction. So the one that the master it never says, so the first ESC it never actually tells you, but it puts it here. When you hit OK, so it's normal. And if you'd have looked at the second and third, they both said normal, and then the 4th one didn't say. So they're all now reversed from how they were before. So if I go back into the motor interface, I check the box, we speed this back up. So what was it, about 1050 or something before? So now you should see that all the motors are turning in the opposite direction. And it's as simple as that with BLHeli. So yeah, so now all I need to do is tell the flight controller what to do, now that we've changed the motor direction. Okay, so this is Betaflight now. So basically all we want to do with Betaflight is we hit connect, and it takes a little bit of time. We connect in, and so the beauty with 3.2 is there's actually only one command that we need to give. So if we go into the command line, there is no there's no GUI option for this yet. Apparently it's coming, but there isn't yet. So if I hit dump, this will eventually, there we go, scroll out all of the settings for the flight controller. And it's one of these that we need to set. So I'm not going to go look for it. What you have to type in is set your underscore motor underscore reversed equals on. Hit enter, and I've spelt it wrong. Motors. There we go. So it's your underscore motors underscore reversed. And you turn that on. And then you hit save. Save, not saved. And it will kick you back out. Reboot the flight controller. And then it should connect you back in. Yep. Let's go into the command line and do dump again. It's difficult to type on this keyboard. What we want to do is I actually want to search for it now. So, oh, here's a tip as well. Don't get confused with this one that says your control reversed. That changes your stick inputs on your yaw around. It's very confusing flying like that when you get the wrong one. Must have missed it. These are very difficult to read, especially when you've got bad eyes. Sure, somebody was yelling at the screen then as I scroll past it, but it's up here. Set your motors reversed equals on, and that's what we need. And that's it. So with 3.2, that's all you need to do. With 3.1 there was another command as well that was set motor direction or something like that. I'll put that in the description. And you just set that to -1. It was 1 by default for normal direction and -1 for reverse direction. Prior to that, you actually had to set your own motor mixing up, and that was a pain in the backside. So this actually makes it an awful lot easier to, oh, that'll kick me back out, an awful lot easier to reverse the direction of your props. And now in BL Heli, just to double check, BL Heli Betaflight, just to double check, go back into the motor tab. Tick the box because I've taken my props off, and we want to increase this. Oops, a bit too far for the camera. And yeah, and you can see that they're all now reversed. And that's it. Now all I need to do is put the prop back on and take it out for a fly. Thanks for watching this probably quick video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and maybe think about subscribing. Thanks very much.